Rock and roll. Kia ora, everybody. What's up? It is robett. It is a mellow morning here, and I hope everything is a-okay with you. I thought I would just jump on for a quick little video. If you are tuning in right now and would like to join me on the show, I'm just going to put a little link in here. You can literally just, boom, connect up, jump in, and I've got a question for you. I've been watching the social trends in New Zealand, and especially in the comments for all of it, in terms of the media, the back channels, the texts, and all sorts of bits and pieces. And it's become very, very, very clear, especially in this last little bit, that New Zealand is now insanely divided. And it worries me a little bit, but also I think, when you see problems, you see potential opportunity. And what I've been thinking about is, we've got the first wave of this is great, where, island nation, we've locked out the world, this is awesome. The next wave of, holy shit, this is now not going so good. There's going to be other waves that come after. And eventually, when it is all said and done, there's going to be this opportunity I see around how New Zealand can potentially connect back up together and we all become one. How do I know it's divided? I can see from the social sentiment of all the messages, specifically a bunch of the back channels of people in the business ecosystem, government, councils, all sorts of stuff that I'm connected with. And a lot of people are not happy. But more importantly, from a business perspective, there are several key people that I've seen that are actually looking to exit their money out of New Zealand. They're not feeling comfortable right now with what is and what's happening, where it is going. And so Te Wanga Johnson just says, New Zealand has always, I would agree, my brother. I think it's very clear that it's become more divided, I would say, within the last little bit, is I guess my point. And the voices are getting louder. If you look through the stream, or even I've been seeing a whole bunch of different decision makers, especially on LinkedIn, a lot more people are speaking out publicly around specific things they think about business, hospitality, or tourism, or mental health, or whatever it may be. One of the things I've been thinking about is how almost the roles feel like it's been reversed a little bit. If we look at what's happened in the States, which I've been in the last 18 months since I've been able to get back, is basically no one wanted to be in America. It was a shit show, and 750,000 deaths, insanely bad rollout, spread, bunch of craziness, and New Zealand was a safe haven. Weirdly enough, now it feels like the roles have flipped a bunch, where people are now stuck. It's going on, I guess, week 10. It's looking to potentially December, which makes it a bit tricky. So I'm trying to get to the point, Cal Hamlin, there is no one as racist as a racist. That's probably pretty accurate. If you would like to, I've got a question for you, is how do you think, what is the tone of the nation right now? If you would like to join me, I've put a link in the comments. You can just literally click that link, or pop up. You come into the little chat room, and you can feel free to have your say and ask you basically what's going on. So the next part of it that I've been thinking about is how do we potentially unite? What are some ways in the future? Like, not obviously it's not going to happen right now, because clearly we're dealing in the midst of stuff, but it feels that every single business call I've been on, or everything that's been going on, is the first 10 minutes of every business meeting is basically bitching about stuff, and then you sort of get into the other stuff there. And I've been thinking about some ideas to go forward. Lisa says, I'm considering homeschooling, leaving the country, and how much these changes will impact already marginalized communities. I think no school for kids at home in poverty with domestic violence. Lisa, that is a flipping really good point, because I might have even said it a couple of times before when we had Lisa King on the show from Eat My Lunch. When the lockdowns were going on, she said one of the biggest dangers they had was actually worried about people, kids going to school, because school was their safe place. School was where they were not potentially in a home with domestic violence, with parents that were, abusing them for a variety of reasons or whatever, and which I totally agree as well. Hayden, scary as don't want to end up divided like the States. Hayden, I would agree. The States, for being United States of America, through, if you look at the response of how it's gone state by state, is anything but. Segregation is not Aotearoa. I would also agree. So if you're watching this right now and want to jump in, click the link below, and you can come in. Boom, boom. I've just put a link there, so you can either comment or you click it. So the challenge or the question would be, how do you unite? Is it a community thing? Is it how does this get better for all? Like those that feel they have been wronged, how do either politicians or community make that comeback? What can you control in your ecosystem? That's another sort of part too. I wanted to share this just quickly. What I'm interested with this is, there was a quote in here talking basically about how they're looking to shorten the MIQ stays. But this is the line which I thought was pretty much summed it up. More than 100 people with COVID are isolating at home in Auckland right now, yet fully vaccinated travelers with no COVID have to spend 14 days in MIQ. Also, just quickly on the MIQ bit, is those that are going to MIQ need to go into the crazy lottery to be able to get in. Then they need to pay $3,000 or whatever it is on top of that. This system makes no sense. It is unfair and illogical. I would 100% agree. So just move that out of the way. Gareth, decent is the answer. Gareth, whatever could you be talking about? But potentially, Lisa says exactly. The vaccine will not stop these issues. They are it's a big word for me this early. Lisa, exacerbated, I believe that is the word. Jesse, how do we get that already reserved MIQ spot? You're telling me, mate. I got no flipping idea. I've actually tapped out from that whole process. I've been like, stuff it. James Robinson, what do we have in common? I'd like to say we all want New Zealanders to be healthy and safe, but I feel various factions might not be willing to believe that about each other, potentially. Actually, Anthony, I saw your post last night. I'm going to send a link. If you can, Anthony, jump in, because Anthony had a banger of a... See, Anthony, I actually screenshotted. I see these things, Anthony. I saw your what you had posted last night. Oh shit, sorry. And I sent it to a friend, and I want to just bring it up, and I'm actually going to read it out to everyone. And this is how one of the reasons why I actually wanted to do this video was because of your post from last night. I actually said, given the increase in vaccination mandates, what's next? If children aren't vaccinated, will they be prevented from attending school? Good question. And this was Anthony's post from last night, which I screen grabbed. This country I know and love is turning into a hateful, divided nation fueled by this government, which is now dictating to private businesses who they can and can't hire, is legalizing discrimination on medical grounds, and is rewarding essential workers like nurses for their dedication and sacrifice with pay freezes, and now the threat of job loss if they decided not to be vaxxed. Just quickly on that, my wife's a nurse, and I fully think nurses should be 100% paid more. So stuff all you guys for putting them on freezers. Nurses are heroes, stuff you guys. Next one. The erosion of our fundamental rights and the disdain which our Kiwi expats are being treated and denied the opportunity to return home is disgusting and unparalleled. I'll also jump on that. There are so many people that want to get back for newborn babies, trying to potentially see if I feel with loved ones, sick ones, a whole bunch of other stuff. This is also stuffed up. Agreed. Power corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Our PM... now, this is not... I'll do a disclaimer. This is those thoughts potentially of this individual and not those that represent the channel, businesses, or any sponsors associated with it. Our PM is on the biggest power trip with her unrealistic world-leaning initiatives, all spin, no delivery. I hope you and family get the chance to come home and be reunited with your wider family and friends. That was Anthony. Strong comments, strong thoughts. People need to read the Canadian Constitution and Charters of Freedoms. It feels people who are not impacted do not, unfortunately, care. When times come, they do. It'll be too late. Interesting. Phillips, I don't believe unification can wait. We need to act now. Philip, I would love your thoughts. I'm going to put a link in. If you would like to join me on the show, literally click the link, pop in, and I can put you on for your 2 cents. So I'm a little bit nervous, but at the same time, I see, being a radical optimist, I see the stuff that sucks, and I also see potentially what could be awesome and great. And I feel that New Zealand feels like we were leading and winning, and in the same strategy, all of a sudden now we're down to like 39th or whatever, and it's kind of stuff. So I've been thinking about what are some ideas that we could do to unite. Do you have a big concert? What do you do? Tom, look, agreed, nurses are heroes. Shit, yes, Tom. 150%, yes. Nurses are heroes. And doctors, obviously, but my wife's a nurse, so nurses are cooler, whatever. Yes, 100%. But on Philip, I got a question for you, Philip. You've just said, I don't believe unification can wait. We need to act now. So what would you do, Philip? How would you act now to try and potentially unify New Zealand? What would you do? Guy Rickard says, Guyzo, for starters, you're a bloody great human. Happy you tune in. Much love, brother. We're scared and confused. The mandate could potentially lose 1/3 of our customers facing business when we move into this new 90% traffic light framework, whereas if we stay on our current alert level, we wouldn't. Interesting. Guyzo, if you obviously you're watching and listening, if you'd like to jump on the show, hit the link. I'll put a thing up here. Boom, boom, boom. Did you join? I'm currently supporting the Hikoi, Mr. Hollis. Our country is divided. It is divided. You can 100% feel it, and it doesn't feel cool. It does. Like I always feel that New Zealand's been very. I love New Zealand. New Zealand's flipping awesome, right? But at the moment, it doesn't feel flipping awesome, and it makes me feel not cool. Guys, if you want to jump in, we're scared and confused. The mandate could potentially use 1/3 of our customers. Yeah. So how would, okay, so say, guys, for you specifically, if you're the government right now, what do you put in place and what processes would you do for small businesses, potentially like yourself, to try and make it better? What would you do and how would you do it specifically? I'm interested for your thoughts. Anthony, my wife and I are contemplating selling up and moving abroad to reclaim our freedoms. And I know many successful business people are looking to do the same. So funny you say that. Another friend of mine done very well. He's got a shit ton of money. I was emailing him the other day and he's literally trying to figure out how to get all of his cash out of New Zealand right now. He's like stuffed this for a variety of different, he's obviously in the business game and this is having a direct impact on him. Jason, I think I saw someone just pop into the chat. If you want to jump on the show, literally just jump in, click the link, and I would look. I'm such a stubborn bastard. I'm going to stay here until flipping someone joins me and talk shit on back with me. So, Anthony, where would you go if you were to leave New Zealand right now that would give you more freedom? And please don't say Texas. And what is some of the feedback that you're hearing from other business people specifically with the impact this has had for the long tail of how the recovery will potentially may be? I would love to know that. Change the rhetoric from the pulpit of truth for a start. Kelly, I don't know what pulpit means, but I'm imagining this is like listening to potentially one person that might be telling you everything that knows what's up as the single source of truth. I could be wrong, but please let me know if I'm right or wrong. Probably wrong. Mike Harrison. Oh, what's up, Mike? We love to think of ourselves as world leading. How about a drive to be the first to open up in a safe way, a radical view of our review of our MIQ process to allow Kiwis to travel and much needed talent to enrich our recruitment market as much as ever. Mike, flip 100% agree. If you want to jump on, literally click the link and then I will be here. Do your makeup on. Or, hey, dude, you're bald like me. You don't need makeup. Just flip and jump on, mate. It's all G. You may have your jammies on, not your business shirt, which I can see there. But I want to talk about talent for a quick second. I feel with last year, New Zealand missed a big opportunity to try and attract epic talent to New Zealand for business, about a commercial magnet for opportunities which businesses could have come through. Now, weirdly enough, talent's looking to leave. So not only did we miss a potential global magnet opportunity for good talent in commerce and global businesses, when the world was paused and we were moving, we didn't attract as much as we potentially could have. And now that they're moving and we're stopped, talent and money is looking to leave. So this is like worse, like way worse. Mike, interested for your thoughts, especially on the talent side, because there's going to be a massive, tech's the second, third biggest export in New Zealand right now. We've got a massive solid tech shortage like this. It's flipping nuts. I think that if our government has gone about this in a better way, there would be less divide. The government has always had our way or the highway approach, and Indigenous people all over the world have seen the negative effects of this approach over and over again. I believe that there needs to be more options. We should be promoting and boost our natural immune system just as much as we're promoting vaccinations. Solid chat. If you'd like to join in, literally hit the link. And good, interesting one. Tom, bull foreigners need New Zealand vaccination certificates and they can get them if they don't have Pfizer jabs, or we're just riding off tourism industry. Funny you say that, Tom. I know tourism is not only extremely hurting, there has been a bunch of, I knew this would happen. after the first lockdown, when people didn't have much cash, I was thinking that there's going to be big roll-ups in the space. So essentially overseas capital coming in to try and roll up and acquire a bunch of different mergers and acquisitions of good physical assets that existed in New Zealand, which they could then commercialize after it opened back out. And that flipping basically is happening. So I would be interesting about what you think about how this will affect tourism as well. Anthony says, potentially return to the UK where I previously lived for 19 years, where my wife is from. Okay, Anthony. Actually, Anthony, you know about this investment stuff. I'll ask you. You've dealt with some big money shit. What is the headspace of those with a shit ton of capital right now in New Zealand that are looking to deploy that capital? Are they still looking to see it as undervalued assets, which they could capitalize on better with different infrastructures in place? Or are they just saying, stuff it, let's buy some Bitcoin? What would they be up to? Fun for life. Yes, Chad, brother. Good chat. Missed a good opportunity to attract local talent as well. Brother, Tangaroa, if you're listening to this, flipping hit the link, jump in. I need to talk to someone. Someone has, I'm going to put the comment in again. There's the link. You can literally jump on the show and get in the mix there. 100% on the talent, right? Like, what's the play there? Cora Samuels, what changed from be kind to Araha from afar? If she had have held those messages and continued this, then maybe that's a maybe, the people would have listened to her. There's been no messages reflective of the last year, early this year, whānau versus whānau, friends versus friends. It's a sad time. Yeah. So maybe the one piece I would maybe jump in on this is when you're talking about like leading with kindness and care and people, there's been several instances specifically at the border where there's been people like, I hate, it sucks to talk about. A friend of mine who I grew up with in the snowboard game, Trevor Ponting, he got diagnosed with terminal brain cancer in Japan, and they wouldn't let him home because they didn't think it was severe enough. The dude had a flipping terminal brain cancer. Then we came up, went flipping heavy online. Everyone pushed to flipping. Helen Clark jumped in the mix. It took the ex-Prime Minister of New Zealand, Auntie Helen, to comment and tag in flipping Jacinda, and then within 24 hours, is a leading story on the news, and shit popped. That's one story, right? Which everyone then got behind it. I got him behind it super. I was emotional, I was crying, all sorts of shit. You know, he got home to be with his mum in Christchurch, and he passed away a couple months later. That's one story of potentially hundreds or thousands that people are dealing with right now. That's not leading to flipping love. Like, what are you flipping? It pisses me off. Anyway, team, we've got our first guest. I'm hyped. I'm flipping hyped. All right. How are you, brother? Morena, my bro. How are you? So, who are you and where are you from?
Patururi Tōtu, and I come from Mamari Beach, just past Dargaville.
Dargaville, bro. You know I was born in Dargaville. Arapahui, mate. RD4. RD4.
Oh, yeah. I'm RD3. Yeah. No,
they're like one street up, one RD away, bro.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to be on. I was just watching you.
Well, surprise, my bro. So what's your headspace? What are you thinking? How's the what's up? What's on your mind?
Okay, yeah. Well, basically, sort of, I just wanted to put it all like about what you were saying about these. Like, I was invited to go to the Hikoi up to Waitangi, and with the He Waka Pūtanga, and they're all being stopped at Mercer and all of that sort of thing. So I've been having raru-warus with brothers, with Māori, who have been taka here on their mana, because most of my whānau where I come from, they've all taken the vaccine, and I refuse to take it. I'm 100% anti-vaccine, and it's not because there's two reasons. The first reason is because it hasn't been sort of like properly researched. And like when these doctors in that say that it's safe long term, how can you say that? No one can say it's safe long term because they haven't studied the vaccine long enough. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that the vaccine's poison or anything like that. I don't know what it is. That's the first concern. But now I've really dug my heels in because they're saying it's going to be mandatory. I know a bro, I just spoke to him last night. He's leaving his job, which he's had for about 25 years with the government, because he won't take the vaccine. And I know, like other people on my Facebook page, and they're trying to wrestle, should I take it? I'm going to lose my job. I can't go to the gym, So that's my main take with this regime, with the government regime, is the fact that they're trying to impose force mandates of vaccines onto the people. That's not right.
Huh. Well, Lisa just coming through, calling unvaccinated people unsafe is absolutely divisive and wrong. Interesting, my bro. And so just quickly, what would it take for you to get vaccinated?
Well, basically, I'll be straight up with you, bro. I wouldn't be prepared to be vaccinated for a few years, because at this stage, unless it's a natural vaccine, because we have strong immunizations, okay? I mean, for all I know, I could have already caught COVID-19, bro, because when I was in Auckland and I was going to a Les Mills gym there, and basically I was in the sauna with this fellow who had caught COVID-19, and he told me, and this is straight up, about not long after that, I got this flu, but it was the worst flu I've ever had. It was like I had a burning fever, and I had all these conditions that they said that you get with COVID-19. But because I was staying at the backpackers at the time, in a single room, I just stayed there and just self-isolated, bro. So didn't know if I had it or not, But I
Did
wasn't
you get
going.
tested?
No, well, that's the whole thing, bro. I wasn't going to go and take the risk, because I know they would have tried to force me to get vaccinated. They're trying to force me right now, my own whānau and iwi, te Hāoranga, all of those people. Yeah, so like the doctors and the Māori doctors and nurses where I come from here, and all my own whānau are saying, oh, bro, you need to get vaccinated to protect us. They're all vaccinated. And what I say to them, but if you're vaccinated, how's it going to hurt you if I'm not vaccinated? It's not going to affect you. Whether you have the vaccine or not, you can still catch it and you can still pass it on. So, but if you're fully vaccinated, then how am I, being unvaccinated, going to hurt you?
I hear you, man. Hey, appreciate you jumping on, brother. Best of luck for your day.
Hey, kia ora,
Sure, brother.
Kia ora koe mo tō kōrero. Yeah, cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. There you go. Putting anti-vax in the mix. There he is. There he is.
Nothing, bro.
Good, man. Do you need me to introduce you? Or does just everyone know who you are at this point? Is that how? Are you just that? Are you that baller of a status? You just roll up like everyone already just knows.
I'm just covered in shit right now, bro. How's the audio? Audio right?
Bro, you're sweet and all good, but I thought it would be remiss. I couldn't. I got on one. I'll also bring in the bro Geyser. How are you? Three-way love fest. Both of you boys. I don't know if Geyser, Farm for Life. I'll let ugliest one go first.
That'd be me.
Well, I was waiting to see who was going to say they're the ugliest.
The shirt's not doing me any favors at all.
Go for it, Geyser. What are you thinking?
Look, I thought I'd jump on just because you essentially just asked a question, like for small businesses and stuff, and obviously I commented and said that with this whole new light, this traffic light framework that they're going to roll out once each DHB hits 90%. This is as far as what I can understand from it, and maybe this is the whole problem, is that the teaching and the communication behind this whole thing's just not that great, so we can't really understand it. But at the moment in Hawke's Bay here, we're in alert level 2, I think it is. We're kind of free, we just have to wear masks and all that kind of shit. Mandates are not in here, but they will be once we hit this traffic light system. Currently, we've got this hairdressing salon. We can operate freely just with masks and all that kind of stuff. As soon as we hit this 90% threshold, which essentially you'd assume would be safer because of the vaccine would be in the majority of our area here, mandates then become enforced into this as soon as we roll out into this new framework, which means a third of our clientele who are not wanting to get vaccinated won't be able to come in. So we essentially lose a third of our business straight away.
So it's because the mandation of those that want to try and get in, if they're not vaccinated, they can't enter. So by them not choosing to, they can't then get the product or service. And then the more that I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, 100%. Not only that, one of the girls that also rents off us, she doesn't want to get vaccinated. She's not an anti-vax person at all, but she just would choose not to because she'd like to wait. And look, I'm not anti-vax. I'm not vax. I am vaccinated. I'm real pro-choice, but I just I actually don't care what your stance is at all. I just think, get protected if you can. So her choice is her choice, which is great, and she doesn't promote that and crap, which is fantastic. But with moving into this framework, she will then lose her job essentially because she won't be able to work because it will be a mandated, area. She won't be able to make any money. All of her clients will lose the rent off her, and yeah, as I said, like a third of the clients, which we know are all, because it's kind of a hippie type of salon. We've got a lot of customers that don't want to do that kind of thing, which is again choice. Fair enough. I say go get the fucking jab, but whatever. That's their choice, but essentially it fucks us because there goes a third of our income, and then.
And if your margin is, if instantly your business's margin is less than the percentage of people who are unvaccinated, you instantly don't have a business.
We don't have money, so we'll close down, and then what? So we'll go on the benefit along with a third of everybody else who doesn't want to get the job and loses their job. The jab, and then loses their job within 4 weeks. Like, what happens then? They just go on the government benefit with everyone else, and then puts another more strain on the government and our economy. Like, what? It's so backwards, seriously, and so frustrating that we just want to gap the country as well, because it's just getting to the point where it's like, why? What's the point?
It's a really interesting point around the fact of that percentage, because I'm imagining that majority of businesses run under a threshold of under 30% net profit anyway. So they're taking, gross anyway, right? Tangaroa, you want to jump in, bro? What's on your head? How are you thinking? You talked about talent bits and pieces. What's your deal?
Yeah. So with the dairy industry, I'm only going to speak on what I know. So with the dairy industry, we rely heavily on people coming in from, whether it be India, Philippines, Spain, coming in and filling these big work gaps in our industry. Every second farm's they're roughly around a labour unit short, and it costs about 20,000 to replace their labour unit. We've already got a heavy churn within our industry, and so we've got people are just stressed to the max, man, because they just don't have any staff. So I'm the opposite to you guys are. We've got our industry's locked, bro. We're sweet as an industry. We're guaranteed income, but we just got no staff. And so my comment was talking about, we haven't adapted early enough. We haven't set ourselves up as an industry to provide skills using tech, which is what Robett, already know what my hustle is. But I'm the only one that's doing it, and there's nobody's done it yet. So we've got all of these people in Aotearoa who are, freaking talented as, and we haven't been able to sexy up our industry to attract these people into a really well-paid job with a lot of skills required, with really well-paid opportunities out there, and opportunities with really good succession plans. And we've got as a nation, we've gone into lockdown and all the rest of it, but we're still functioning at level 0 on farms, pretty much. And yeah, so it's really frustrating for me, because I'm like, all I'm hearing for all my friends and my family guys are situations like yourself, bro, and we're the total opposite. But it's affecting us really bad as well.
What's that haves and have? No, it's haves and haves not, because say within tech is going double and triple up and everyone's just getting smashed. And then those in some of the services are at 0. Like when that first lockdown, basically anyone that was a decision maker in a business was working doubly hard than anything. And if they weren't, they were literally sitting there with their hands in their ass, can't do shit, right? But I think your point though is, in terms of the attraction for talent, my question would be, what percentage out of all of the people employed within the dairy industry are actually these like overseas crew that are coming over and stuff? Like, what's the split between Kiwis working versus overseas people?
Yeah, it's about 40%, bro. So 40% Kiwis, 60% normally offshore. So 40% of the Kiwis, majority of them are the bosses, the contract milkers, share milkers. They're the employers, you know, and we're applying on the bottom. So people at the bottom are normally the people coming and filling those roles, and that's why there's high churn, eh? So all the bosses are having to go back to get dirty.
I get it, man. So on that, there is your frustration, the fact of a bunch of these people are losing jobs and they don't know what to do, and then you're sitting there like, well, we need double and no one's wanting to come to do the work. So it's an engagement and attractment issue for the sector, right? So you know, dairy recruitment has a marketing issue. Is that kind of the buzz?
Bro, it needs to sex you up. So I'm not just talking dairy, I'm talking everything, bro. Like dairy, equine, freaking seafoods, like everything in the primary industry. Everything's been rocked, you know, because we're still operating. We're in the business of production of protein.
So do you think farmers are going to make more money or less money in this? Say in this last 18 months, do you think make more or less? And now without staff, but the demand's still the same. How do they fill that gap?
Right, they're just working their asses off. Like we've just had the highest payout year, and I think nearly in history. So we're getting paid more than ever for our product. But everyone that's at the top's having to go back and fill the gap because the huge shortage of staff. So it's it's pretty crazy. Like bosses, so crazy. But I just want to touch on one thing a bit. There's a lot of anti-vaxxers saying, you know, well, whether you're anti-vaxxer or people that just don't want to get the jab, which is sweet. I'm like pro-choice as well. But I think one thing that we're all missing when we have that conversation and say, oh, you know, if I get it, I'm no less likely to if I get the jab, I'm no less likely to get COVID. I can still pass it on and all those sorts of things. Like that's well and true. But for myself, I've got my parents are 75 years old, and a lot of my friends, you know, and I'm in an industry with such high risk of injury in my industry. You know, we're probably one of the most dangerous industries to be in. And so when people say, oh, you know, I'm no different, but our ability to fight that immunity, fight the COVID is way higher, obviously. And so we're not going to fill all the problems at the hospitals, right? Like, because we've only got 4.5 beds per 100,000 people, and Aussie's got 8.5 beds per 100,000 people, and they're stretched to the max. So we've got half that. So
I think I was just going to say on that point specifically, there's been a couple of people talking about the lack of potential naivety over the last year after we came out of lockdown. Everyone just went through it. There was no main macro infrastructure put in place to be able to cater for when the next thing happened, and then the same thing happened, the same infrastructure, and now it's just almost back. So then the question becomes, well, what were you doing for the last year when you know what the numbers were and you know the lack of preparation? You know, Geyser, what's your take
on the whole vax thing that we just talked about? Yeah, look, you're spot on. It's not about me. It's not about. It's about everyone else. It's about the vulnerable. We're in a really weird situation family-wise at the moment where we've essentially lost a bit because they are so fixated on the me. They're so incredibly fixated on their own immune system, and I trust my immune system and stuff. What happens if you are one of those ones that you don't know, but your respiratory is compromised or something is compromised? You got an underlying health condition that you don't even know about. Sunshine's not going to fix you. It's not going to save you. And look, again, I am very pro-choice here. What I'm very, very anti is not having any information and blasting it all over social media, because that just spins off spirals of just wormholes of people grabbing content of what they want, bits and bobs, not even, 10% of a fact is not a fact, and you're going to spin your own yarn on it, pass it off to someone else. You've got Chinese whispers, and all of a sudden you've got a podcast where two people are having a yarn about something that they don't know anything about to 200,000 subscribers and putting crap out into this world. But anyway, I've seen it so much, and it's incredibly frustrating. We've got obviously my wife's got family up in North Queensland, and we can't get up there to see them. And
preach, Geyser.
Yeah, hard. We've got vulnerable family up there. We literally can't go and see them. Her mum has got 3 health conditions going on where luckily they are life-threatening, but luckily she's still cruising on. But we can't get up there. We literally can't get up there. One, because if we want to come back, we can only go for sort of 3 weeks or something, or else we're broke as anything. We can't get back into the country without going through some stupid MRQ process and then paying another $3,000, so $6,000 each. I mean, for the two of us to get back, there goes everything. And we've got, people they don't understand that and go, the reason why we're trying to get vaccinated here is to protect those who are in a more vulnerable position, like them, and they have to get vaccinated, or else, if they get COVID, they would literally die, and they've been told that from their doctors. They didn't want to get it, but they went to the doctor, and the doctor said to them, look, you're pretty compromised. If you don't get it, then if you don't get the jab and you do get COVID, then you will die. So that was the doctor's advice. So they went and got it. But the point I'm sort of trying to make is whether you're pro or anti or whatever, one, stop spreading so much shit on the internet that you don't know anything about. If you're not an epidemiologist, shut up. If you're not a vaccinologist, shut up and read proper facts.
Well, it's clickbait mafia with it as well, right?
Yeah.
Anthony's jumped through. My family have all decided not to support any businesses carrying out a no jab, no job, and demanding proof of vaccination from customers, acting as Jacinta's COVID police. Andrew Thorne, a week of government borrowing could build a hospital for the vulnerable. You don't lock up the healthy, and you definitely don't take away the general freedoms for the sake of the 1%. Government literally has no foresight. That's from Andrew Thorne. So that was the thing about basically when the world was still on pause and New Zealand push on play, what was the infrastructure that was built? The question I asked Anthony about where the rich are taking their money. So this is old billionaire dollar flipping McNaughton over here. I know several diversified into cryptocurrency, partly driven by their desire to get their assets out of the overreach of this government. Oh, that's a wormhole. Anthony, let's not talk about that online. I'm probably going to get tagged as it is. Jesse, the doctor won't give me my mum an exception unless she gets a heart attack from the first one stuffed. Andrew Thorne, the COVID passport is the start. You have to buy carbon credits through it next. They'll never get to 90%. Many early vaxxers, pre-6 months, already have the vaccine, and it's already dropping in ability. Until a booster exists, Auckland should get comfortable. And that's preach. Tamati, politicians are hiding behind fear and dividing us based on race and zip code. They literally are running scared. Geez, man, people are just getting into it today. Kia ora for the corridor shot. More people on the benefit, more unoccupied votes. Trevor, what's up, Trev? I just heard from Auckland's landmark hospo businesses capitulating. The city is going to look different a month from now. Well, this is from the retail hospitality side. I know firsthand from a bunch of crew that they're literally thinking about just pulling the flipping pin. Love this podcast. Hayden says, preach, guys, are well said. Kelly, she's a weapon. Where there is a risk, there must be a choice. Those who are uncomfortable with vax want to have the conversations about being demonized as tinfoil brigade. One way to get people across the line is to be transparent with all risk and adverse reactions so people can make an informed choice.
That's fair.
Great. And so, bro, 100% anti-vaccine, proud. Oh, jeez. David Casey, Andrew T, yeah, and also abolish speed limits. We'll only use 1% or 40,000. Oh, jeez. At least, I mean, look, I see the argument, but that I would listen to that. I get that kind of. Trust the science. They said, remember the sausage. Oh, here we go. Okay, he wants to jump. He wants to jump on you here, guys. Let's go for it. All right, let's go down the rabbit hole, guys. Who are you to say that? What facts? Your facts? The facts of the pro-vaxxers. There are many reputable immunologists. I don't know. Sorry, who oppose this vaccine. Get it right, man. There you go. So we've now got our first live beef. Wait, chat. No, we can go for you. Anything else, Tangaroa? You got a boost? What are you doing? You boosting away? You good?
Yeah, I've got a boost, bro. I've got a bloody Zoom call that's in 4 minutes. So love and leave you, brother. Good chat. Nice to meet you, guys.
You too, man.
Yeah,
Sure, Tangaroa. Be good, my bro.
See you, brother.
Sure. Flipping good bastard. For those who don't know, that is Tangaroa Walker, the legend, the man, the myth, the Farm for Life legend, who's joined us in the mix. No, appreciate it, guys. It's going to be a tricky one to see how this navigates out for the rest. Hope you're well and good, my friend, and cheers for calling in, legend.
Thanks, boys. You too.
Shachi. There's the bro Geyser for one of my snow homie Martha from back in the day. If anyone else is Kelly, if you're Hayden, Willis, Trevor, Jesse, Tamati, Andrew, if any of you would like to join, or Anthony, here is the link. I'll put it in. I'll do the last little rounds if you'd like to join the show to say your 2 cents. That would be good. Some interesting comments so far from a bunch of people. Colleen, great chat, guys. Get the Vex team. Colleen, if you'd like to join, same thing. Hayden's jumping in the mix. Here we go. What's up, Hayden?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm real interested on that.
Go for it, bro. What's up?
Interested on your talk about unity.
Go for it.
How you push that. I became an aspiring politician last year, ran for the top party, just because I could see how the country's going down a certain line.
Yep.
And I'm more for that unity part, and kind of we can lift up the country, and we're quite a wealthy and amazing country, as you say, and we can deliver this for all. What would you do to kind of unify us?
Well, this is a call-in show for you to tell me your IP, not me give you mine. Well, I literally did it because I don't know what the answer is, and it's like I think more a bit more macro. I'm fast forwarding down the food chain where, everyone's all vaccinated or not. The world's back in trying to be order, but there's going to be this underlying experience through this through COVID, which has clearly divided many politically, potentially socially, racially, geographically, like everything. It's become extremely polarizing for many. And I don't, if new things aren't created to build unity and it stays divided, the brand of New Zealand starts to get tarnished. And from a global perspective, I'm thinking more from, I guess, globally, looking at New Zealand going, okay, what needs to happen to bring that back, or else all that happens is you potentially run a fake ad campaign for what New Zealand is supposed to be with its people to the reality. And then when you've got a disconnect on the reality, sooner or later that gets exposed and it becomes actually a bad thing for all, right? But I'm intrigued maybe for this question to you, which is why it's for my show, Hayden, I'll ask you the flipping question, is when you decided to go for politics and you ran, what was your vision that you thought New Zealand could do better? And then since seeing this last 18 months in New Zealand, how has your headspace potentially changed?
Good question. So originally what I loved about joining TOP and what drew me to that was property. That's a big driver for everyone. Like New Zealanders love property, and it's a step to improving your life. It's only become worse here, and there hasn't been any kind of drive to help out everyone. It's all about kind of the 1% at the top, the 30% raise in property prices over the last year. I've enjoyed seeing that Labour and National are working towards together. That is a good unity sort of thing. Why didn't this happen 3 years ago? That sort of thing. Like why did that have to take this long in a pandemic crisis around the world to make this? But I feel that we are getting further apart. The division between people has created more anger on either side. Like the people who are trying to lift up people, it seems, as communism. We're nowhere near communism here. Like, we need to go back to some civics classes, because like we do have a lot of freedoms here. We just have the ability, if the top 1% kind of give up a bit of their power and their massive growth potential to lift up people, we could be such a great country. You talked about an illusion here. I lived in the UK. I've got a British wife, and we look down on the UK quite a bit of things, but they do a lot of things a lot better than us. We're a bit smug on a few things, and I think we can get to where we think we are, but we just got to give up a couple of, maybe is it taxes, density, that sort of thing, but we just got to be willing to lift everyone up.
So if you were prime minister and the top party was in power with a majority by a landslide,
Woo!
what would you do today? You walk in, you're like, all right, you Muppets, this shit's what's going down.
Yes,
Go. What would you do?
Universal basic income, first thing.
Interesting. Right in the middle of the pandemic, it's not health and science, it's UBI.
Yeah, money to the people. Reform. Hey, like, we've got this economic up and down. People might be losing jobs and stuff. How about we make sure everyone gets a minimum amount of money? Doesn't matter if you lose your job, you're already getting that.
Isn't that what's kind of happening with all the businesses now anyway? That could be argued.
It's going through the business, so it has to. I'm an accountant as well, so I'm dealing with this on a daily. It has to go through the business. The business has to apply and then pay it out, sort of thing. How about we get rid of that and it's just straight from the IRD to everyone, given a minimum.
So you're saying it's currently a B2B play because it's got to run through a third party and you're just going direct to consumer. So it's
correct.
D2C. Yep. Interesting. From government to the people.
Yeah. And when we did these numbers, the election, it was fully paid for. Sort of thing. You get rid of wins. Well, you simplify wins and get people there to deliver the real social help that is required. There was a thing I loved. It was just great. It pushed every minimum wage earners over living wage. Imagine the power they would have for businesses, putting more money in people who are going to spend it instead of the rich property owners.
We've got a pretty big comment which came through from a LinkedIn user. Just a general observation that within the current discourse, there is a lot of one-upmanship. I would agree. Just on that before I even read the rest of it, there has been some flexing going down with some jabs of a certain business leaders in New Zealand, and I would actually say that it's I wouldn't say clout chasing is the word, but let's maybe say it's copyright one-upmanship to see who can throw the bigger social jab at the government or whatever else. I've seen a lot of that. People don't want to be honest. People want to be right, and this really obstructs anything constructive from happening. I would also agree. Robett, what we think about the subject is not of primary importance. How we treat those who think differently to us is, and we can only do this for some intellectual humility and actually engaging with people to see where they're coming from. I have no opinion either way. Only what? I don't know, maybe this thing cut out because he went so. Dude, whoever LinkedIn user is insanely smart. So if you're a dear LinkedIn user, if you would like to jump on in for the chat, you would be more than welcome to jump in, LinkedIn user. Maybe I'm not connected to them, but they are watching it and they've got their settings hiding so it doesn't share their name and thing out. I'm thinking, or could be wrong, but if you are, I'm going to put the link right there. I would love for you to join the show because I actually think that is extremely smart. David Casey then said, Francis Hauger, hopefully I said that right, Hauger has a smoking gun. Engagement-driven content referrals on Facebook unintentionally favors division. Well, it's on reactions and eyeballs. Yep. Unity is a destination. Once you're unified, you have nothing to debate and for no reason to be engaged in debate. Also agree, David. Whereas division is a cycle where the user can be trapped in the cycle and the provider of the forum clips the ticket. Yeah, now we're going down a social little rabbit hole. Do you have any thoughts on algorithms, content plays, where how it changes potential human behavior in society, Hayden? I know it's a very loaded question, but stuff it.
Yeah,
Let's try and go there.
Especially politics is one thing, because you always try to prove someone else is wrong or you can do something better. Like the previous person said 100% right, that we're not willing to be wrong, I think, in society, and accept, hey, the humility and that. And I think that drives into the Facebook and the social media about how it winds us up, and we just want to keep going back and keep biting at something until we get, whether we're right, whatever the drive is to.
It's like that old angry married couple who just keep going back until Keith he wins, but he sleeps on the couch.
Yeah, and like we're human. We're all not. No one's perfect. Everyone's got something wrong about them and can't be 100% right. But it's not a flaw. We just got to accept that we're not always right and bring everyone into play.
Do you have any thoughts on the social media side with how algorithms change human behavior?
It's dangerous.
Preloaded.
It's dangerous, man. Like we believe in freedom and capitalism to grow, and this is it's leading down a bad path. I don't have the right answer for it fully. I just think it's inciting a response and not thinking about things.
What was the I got a political question for you. Do you think a system could ever exist where voting is done on an issue by issue basis and not party by party basis?
I'd love it. That'd be great.
Why would you love it?
We could, instead of it, politics at the moment is all a popularity contest. That's all it is. Simple. If we could narrow it down to just what is actually better for society, well, that's got to be win-win, doesn't it?
How do you think that, what would be the benefit for the people be if it was issue by issue and not party by party?
You could actually, the main parties in New Zealand, Labour and National, are just fighting over the middle. They're not really cared about making big changes because they're worried about getting voted in next time. If they were just aiming to get stuff across the line, wouldn't that create quite a powerful enterprise to actually push ideas?
I get it. Hey, appreciate your time this morning, Hayden. Thanks for calling in. This has turned to a good little bit.
Real good program you got here. Love all the people's talks, different ideas. It's awesome.
This has been unplanned. I literally just got to my desk and I pushed go. So here we are. So don't give me any credit whatsoever because I'm just freestyling this shit. Shut brother. That was Hayden joining us in. Went for politics last year. Good on him. Pretty tricky thing to try and navigate. This has been a very interesting chat. We've gone for chat almost an hour now, which I would not have expected. I've got a whole bunch of other stuff which I'm supposed to be doing, which I haven't done for the last hour. And maybe we'll potentially end it there. I'll leave it up for maybe one more minute. If anyone else would like to jump in the next 60 seconds, or we'll be shutting this thing down for the day. But I wanted to talk to a few different Kiwis who are engaged in the world of business. Here you go. Oh, well, let's give him some props. Here you go. Thanks for the interview. I'm actually signed up to StreamYard as well for my political party. There you go. Maybe go for a .com and get out the Weebly. Might be better for people to try and get to. Yeah, so last minute. You got 30 seconds left to go, and then we're done. David Casey, thanks for shot, David. Good banter today, mate. David, it's a good point that you brought up around this algorithm, talking about that's definitely a different conversation which we could potentially get down on another little rabbit hole. You got about 20 seconds left. I'm about to pull the pin. And that's pretty much it. Good banter. I had not thought about what guys was talking about, basically saying if you're unvaccinated, you won't be able to come into different businesses. And if, say, 30% of people are unvaccinated, that's a 30% drop in revenue instantly overnight. And if your margin is less than 30%, basically you don't have a business, and then you'll be stuffed, which is obviously not good. Henry McShane, thanks, mate. A-OK, Henry. Bloody A-OK. Sometimes these are good to do. I could just sort of get a sense of the the vibe of what's going on, it doesn't feel good. So that's probably us enough for today. Hope you have a good one, whatever you're doing. Mikado Hendry, thanks, Rhett. Shot. Matt Smith, unity for me is via decentralization, via immutable truth and governance. In my future, this will happen. Thanks for the chat. Solid. Dan Clearcorn, great chat, brother. Shot Dan. Hope you're winning. Matt, I also hope you're winning as well, my friend. Long time no here, and I hope you're charging and rocking in the Tron. All right. Last point to think about. Unity. How do you think New Zealand can build its way back to each other and back connected? I'm kind of getting a bit sick of every meeting for the first 5 to 10 minutes just bitching about stuff. It's probably not taking up the best, most energy that we potentially could be doing with our time. So I wanted to just tweak it out a little bit and start thinking about what that potential bit of unity could be for New Zealand. Have a good day, everyone. Hope you're winning. Hope you're well. Rock and roll. See you all soon. Peace.